Welcome back to WGLEU Season 2, Match Week 3. And we are getting ourselves ready for Game 2. The first game was, I guess, it went how it should do. Let's put it that way. Ding picked up the victory in the end, out of range. Just looked a little bit behind overall, let's be honest here, and they did eventually fall to that sort of fate. However, Game 2, you kind of hinted at being quite the matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, Knackebrod has been one of the better teams this season so far, and they look pretty impressive. Whatever, man. I can't even be bothered with them anymore. KB. It's been good with this. Could be good this season. 2 wins under their belt.
Yep.
Impressive stuff from them. Obviously, that Penta win was very impressive from them. And Kazna with 2 wins as well. So you got 2 wins. Obviously, Kazna with 6 points as they got 2 clean wins, and KB with just a 1 win and a tiebreaker win, so they got the 5 points. So impressive start. So I'm expecting great things.
Well, it's in theory going to be a very good game. I think we're going to start seeing the difference between certain teams, the experience heads of like the Kazna crew boys, and of course their opposition KB. KB a little bit greener to things. Let's just say that, but they certainly have a little bit of bite to their bark. So I'm looking forward to seeing how well they face off against the team who's currently 1 step above them in the rankings. So that's what I'm going to be looking at here today. But is there anything outstanding to you about this matchup? Any notable points, or is it just 2 very good teams seeing how they're performing thus far?
Well, I think you mentioned the most important point. Kazna, their experience, they've been in the season since the first one. They've been here the whole time, basically. They've got top 3 results. They've got a first place finish at the season 5 finals. They've been to the grand finals a couple of times. So they are very, very good indeed. Now, KB have none of those accolades. Nope. They're a new team, obviously with a lot of good players. Very, very, very good players in the World of Tanks community from some of the better previous teams, from the better clans. A lot of people will recognize them, but they don't have that 7 tanks, whatever tier point experience, which Kazna crew does. So this could be an interesting matchup. Because it's kind of old versus new, but still, Kazna, they have the edge.
They certainly do. There's no disputing that. But we'll have to see how well KB come into this, what they can bring into this matchup, how much can they challenge, if they can maybe squeeze out a win. I don't know. We're going to have to... That's maybe pushing a bit too far. But we'll wait and see. Things can happen. Stranger things have happened. So we'll find out soon. But it's not just about us once again, guys. It's about you guys at home again, your thoughts through to us and your predictions. And I can imagine how this one's going to go, Melly. I can imagine it's a little bit one-sided. I'm not sure which way, but no.
Oh, come on.
The Kazna fans are strong. Let's just put it that way.
That's true. 82% in Kazna crew's favor. But in Twitch chat, there is actually a huge Knackebrod fan fraction. It's really crazy.
Okay.
And I love how you pronounce it different every time you try to say it. It's really cute.
Knackebrod.
Yeah, that's actually the best you've done.
Problem is, it's like when I'm just speaking German normally. It's okay, my pronunciation is not great, but it does the job. As soon as I start to think about it, that's when it goes really bad. That's when it just goes down the drain. When I start to take Mitch's suggestions into account.
You're listening to Mitch, the Australian who can't speak English.
I know. This is my point. This is the point I'm making
I can see the issue.
Yeah, this is a big issue I've had, but yeah, Knackebrod.
No, that was actually pretty good. You have to say it a bit more angry. Like angrier.
I'm alright.
You've got to be angry at the bread.
Yeah, kind of. So the R has to roll.
This is going to be a continued thing. We're going to be 11 match days in, and we're still going to talk about this team.
I love it. That's our storyline of the season. We will finally teach Ollie pronouncing Knackebrod the correct way.
The most useful of things, of course.
Exactly. Hashtag WGLEU people, if you want to, send us videos of you saying Knackebrod. Well, that would be interesting, to be honest. Also, if you have questions...
Or just send some to the office,
That works.
I haven't had that in 10 years, but...
Knackebrod to the office? Yeah. You haven't had Knackebrod?
It's basically crackers, come on.
Knackebrod. Well, that's a German
It's really
version.
not very exciting, though, is it? Like you could.
Well, it's crisp bread.
That sounds awful. That's like Melba toast. That's horrible.
A bit of Stilton on that. Could do okay.
Oh, God, Ollie.
It's not too bad, to be honest.
I like it. It's good stuff.
Like rice cakes. Oh, it's tasty. No, it's not. Don't lie.
Yeah.
They are with chocolate.
See, I knew you'd be a person who'd be trying to be an advocate for them. Awful. The only ones that are decent are Marmite ones. Have you had the Marmite ones?
The corn ones.
No, I've never had
the corn
those.
ones are really good.
No, they're not, Melly.
They are.
No.
Guys, are we having a conversation
Yes,
about...
we are. We all talk about spaghetti
Why
if
not?
you're happy, you know?
I mean, the team is kind of forcing it on
Talk
us
about
with their
Spagbol.
names.
Spagbol.
Oh no, please
I've
don't.
not had spagbol in ages.
Oh,
I
it's
made one the
really
other day. I was
terrible.
supposed to make
People,
meatballs,
how
but I
about
promised
you
to make
guys
Spagbol
telling me
instead.
your favorite Spagbol recipe by using the hashtag WGLEU on Twitter? Also,
You okay, Melly?
WGLEU. Follow us to stay updated, even if you're not in front of your computer. I will spam you with the standings of the server and how the teams are doing, and you will still know what's going on. And of course, on youtube.com/WGLEU, we just uploaded, well, a few days ago, the VODs of the past 2 match weeks. So people, there is plenty of stuff to watch back. But not now. Now you have to watch this awesome show and us breaking over Knackebrod.
Yeah.
You
See what we
said
did
that in
there.
a negative light.
What?
Breaking bread, that's what we're doing right now. I don't know what that means. Don't even know what that means. That's something from the Bible, but yeah, we'll glance past that
Like
one.
sharing with friends.
Yeah.
But there was,
Oh,
no.
God.
Yeah, puns are coming out in
Yeah,
force.
friends.
How I've missed this show, guys, you know?
It's good fun, don't
Why
lie.
I
teams do
escaped
it.
for a while and... You're right there, Melly's just leaning over, just
I
peering like
love
this is
to
a
see-
hand now coming in.
You've ruined the illusion. Normally
God,
people
Melly,
think
get
you're in
over
some
there.
room.
Yeah. What's this about? I can't do
Exactly
this anymore, guys.
what
I quit.
the overview camera is. Know what is happening.
But no, we are just waiting on the teams to get ready. But do we know the maps?
Yeah, we're going to start on Muravanka, I
Yep.
do believe, and then we're going to be moving on to Ruenberg and Ghost Town. So this is our 3 maps, which we'll probably see in Steps and Prokhorovka. Steps is that 4th map, and Prokhorovka is a tiebreaker for all these matches this week. You can see the tank line up on your screen there with the map at the top. Obviously, you know, KB being on the defensive side, pretty heavy lineup. Kazna crew on the attacking side. This is Kazna's map. They love to play in Season 5. They played it against Wombats on Tanks. Me and Mitch discussed it briefly. That's where they actually managed to break the back of that team and, you know, go on to win the entire match to take Season 5 finals in first place. So this is the map they know they can rely on. They did pretty well. They got 1-1 scoreline in their previous matchup, so they could do well here as well, as KB hasn't really had a chance to play it yet.
There we go. A lot to be seen on this one, and I'm glad to see this map back with us and looking at how it goes down in this format. I'm very, very excited. And guys at home, of course, get those votes in, get your thoughts through to us before this one really, truly kicks off, because we are live into this right here, right now. Kazna on the attack, KB on the defense. And Ollie, what do we see thus far?
Well, again, you know, the heavier lineup of KB is going to be going to more defensive positions. No artillery from this team. We saw a little bit in 754. But I think the interesting thing to bear in mind, you know, just from previous results, is that KB has beaten Penta, who of course beat Kazna crew in the season 1 kind of qualifiers, pre-playoffs. So, you know, that's definitely not going to be playing a particularly good role in Kazna crew's mind. And, you know, Kazna's only had to beat Rusty Roster and Utopia, whilst KB has had to beat Penta and Ding. So there's a lot of good results for them. Strong CMO, not Utopia, sorry. So a lot of good results, at least for KB. I'd say they've had the harder matches up so far.
Okay, so...
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
that's
Utopia,
what
my bad.
You're just rubbish.
Too many
This one.
Polish teams this season.
Yeah, there's
so
so many.
many.
Strong. And Tarantula already getting a little bit of a shot towards him. These are blind shots, bearing in mind he is not spotted yet, and he's just going to try and weather the storm in the 1390. Oh, this is not looking good. Nexus, he's going to have a shot again in a second. If he gets this one through, that's going to hurt. No, he does try and spread the love a little more, let's just say. But Vetso going to be spotted up there, so lighting up, going to maybe have an idea, maybe an inkling that someone's a little closer by. Tarantula might need to make his move soon. He is getting some great information, though, through to his other teammates.
Well, the fact that Tarantula still spotting those guys, you know, Vetso, Elian, it would really ring alarm bells in my mind as Kazna crew that Tarantula must still be in that position, of course.
Yep.
Taken up by the 59-16 through the majority of Season 5. We saw it sitting up there, trying to get spots, trying to get the early bit of information. But, you know, we see these Tier 10 tanks with higher view ranges in general. So they can find Tarantula pretty easy. And also that bush is not as good as some of the other bushes. We saw, for instance, Ron in the H line a lot more, in H4 kind of area, H5 maybe. But, yeah, Kazna crew, they made, I think, 3 shots against Tarantula's position. 2 of them landed. That's from the Object 140. That's why he's not dead. And 1 of them missed. So, obviously, they would need another 2 shots from the 140. and maybe just one shot from the SDB1. So Kazna would have loved to take down that tier 8, but obviously not aware that they might be in a different position. Are now trying up the north.
Yeah, looking for different opportunities, Kazna. Trying to find things. And any opportunity, really, at this point. See how this one goes, Vetso. Joining Nexus there. Stefan as well. Certainly well-noted members of the community by this point. I know you guys out there are certainly fans. But Crux just on the verge of trying to make any sort of shots count at this point. But going to receive one. Elian there going to just place that towards it. Now let's remind ourselves, Elian, of course, is one of the superstars. One of these players that you can't miss by these points. I absolutely love talking to this guy as well. He's, you know, one of the kind of aim stars as well as one of the smarter players out there as well, I've got to say. He's incredibly good at this game, but I want to see how well he adapts to this new game mode, if he still has that sort of potency thus far. If he still has that sort of gameplay and that sort of prowess. And already a very slow beginning between these two.
Yeah, I mean, this is Muravanka in 754 as well. Trying down south, going for those blind shots, trying to get that second cap, get a smaller tank in there, then going up north. And once you've maybe just come to the conclusion that it's not so easy. I guess the interesting thing is that we actually saw Kazna move towards the artillery slightly later on in the season when they were playing this map in 754. The M40 was used quite extensively. So the fact that it's not really being used at all here is interesting, and maybe that's something that's going to change in terms of the meta as we go through Season 2, 2015-16. As you can see, KB's lineup does lend itself to being countered very heavily by the M40, the M43, the M50, M53, M55, M53, sorry, and any other kind of artillery. So I would expect to see that, but Kazna looking for that northern spot. Now, they tried a similar thing last time. They got themselves in the cap, and then they found themselves just surrounded because they didn't get control over the middle. You can see they've changed that a little bit here with the T62A and Hybrid and the Object 140. They've got a little bit more control over that position. So this should go a little bit better when they do decide to go in.
And I'm curious when they actually feel as though that timing is right and when they've got enough information to work off the back of it. I'll have to wait and see if they actually commit to anything thus far. There's 5 minutes left. They're not in any sort of massive rush, let's bear in mind. There's still a lot of time to play with, but it does seem as though they are slowly but surely building themselves in towards that western side. Nothing too quick at this point, though. As you said, this is Muravanka. This is still kind of what we saw in the previous game mode to a degree. I need to refresh my memory, of course, when they did try that kind of eastern side towards the south and then swing back up when the timing was right. However, it's going to be Elian at the forefront here, trying to get a little bit of a peer across. Those enfilades just looking above, but not going to be able to spot anything out just yet, if I'm not mistaken, actually. Paycat not going to be spotted out either. Elian, got to be cautious here.
Well, in my opinion, KB is not 100% comfortable on this map if I look how they're playing. They're playing very default, comfortable positions where they're not really using much of the map. This is kind of how you'd play when you're playing that side on a random battle. But you can see Eurofish going forwards, and Kazna clearly are now committing to that northern area. They've even taken Yizny away from that southern position and popped him up north. So this might be an all-in position. Obviously, Kazna with a much lighter lineup will have to be a little bit concerned about those two T110E5s, as they can, do a lot of damage as well as have an insane amount of frontal and turret armor. They can bounce a lot, especially from the heat ammo, which is pretty much exclusively what Kazna are sporting with those Russian medium tanks.
But let's see if the execution in the end does pay dividend. Of course, there's still a little bit of time left here. You can see the cap has just about begun. Yizny and Elian going to be the two in there at this point. It's going to force the hand of KB to actually make a play here. Now, it looks as though Kazna have a plan in mind to meet this on every single front. Who's going to be the integral part here?
Well, the integral part will be the damage dealer behind, the Object 140. It'll be Nexus to keep control of that left side, and the Bat Chat just needs to make sure those T110s don't go too far in. So everyone's an integral part, but it's really about those 3 tanks there that really have to make sure they don't peek too aggressively and take too much damage.
Well, that T110 did try and find an angle there, but that cap is certainly going to be a factor pretty darn soon. It's down to around 10 seconds, and Arta is going to be looking for an option shell by shell. He is taking damage, but it's down to 8 seconds now. KB, you don't want to be sitting back with every tank alive, letting that cap get on the way. Finally, the shells are going to come in. That comes in from a further western peak than we've been able to see at this point, but still, KB relatively keeping firm in this one, not losing out on too much here. But it looks like Kazna are certainly in the driving seat.
Yeah, you can see, T110E5 will eventually go down, and once that reset came in, the R-Tor went back. But I still think Kazna crew are winning this one. I mean, they're putting so much pressure on in the cap. They're winning exchanges. Vetso's doing a good job in that STB1, and Stefan with a fantastic shot as Altamati R-Tor needed to get that reset.
And well, there it is. Vetso's going to find Arthur. He's gone and fallen, but it looks like the close is going to come in from KB, trying to get some damage done. And Paycat now surrounded, going to be swept up by Nexus, and back and forth we go. But Kazna in the driving seat, leading things here. Elfish tries to come in, but instantly Stefan replies. Hyper picks him up, and we're down to 2 players. Felware and Tarantula, the 2 players of the start, who actually did some fair decent work. But look at that surround coming in. That is absolute decimation, leaving just 1 man standing. And at the start, he took, what, 2, maybe 3 shells already. And he stayed relatively safe ever since, but he's just the last man in this, and that cap is looking like it's almost done and dusted. And
also this, the fact that Tarantula is actually going to go in and get himself spotted is going to give Kazna crew quite a lot of information going forwards. If they do ever play KB on Muravanka, they can see that Tarantula's taken 2 or 3 shells, so they know that they managed to get the blind shots into the right position in that bush down south.
Yep.
So they'll be, considering that in future games, and a lot of other teams will be as well. So yeah, good round by Kazna crew, textbook stuff. Not receiving too much damage in those exchanges, getting the 2 tanks in the cap, having control over that capping area, and then just forcing those T110s to go forwards, keeping control of the middle as well with Nexus, and not letting KB just come from every angle, which definitely worked out.
Yeah, Kazna looked overwhelmingly dominant throughout that. At the start, quite tentative, quite cautious. They didn't exactly commit straight away. They were relatively respecting their opponent. They didn't just rush things. But once they saw how they were playing, once they got enough information, they went into default, okay, let's just play that western side cap. Let's do it how we know. Let's force them to make the move. And it worked perfectly. Really nice display from Kazna to kick things off. And KB, you said at the start, they look like they're playing this very default. It looks like they haven't exactly got their own flavor, their own style to it yet. Yep. Was maybe this just not their map really coming into this one, do you think?
I think so, not yet. I mean, you got to remember they are not a team that was in Season 5, so they don't have that background, that foundation which you need on a lot of maps. You got to remember, World Tanks is about feeling comfortable on maps. There's some maps where you just like you breathe a sigh of relief when you go onto them because you know you can play them well and you can win in a lot of these situations against most teams. But this is a really nice play. Stefan, he's the one who's doing the damage against Almighty R-Tor there, and he was in fact the highest damage dealer from the Kazna crew boys all along, 2.7k and only 1.5k from Failware in the end. But I think KB, they shouldn't have gone for these peaks. I think they should just exchange, gone straight in, try and take down these 2 tanks there with some really big burst damage, and get a little bit of control from the side so Hyber and Nexus can't keep control. They can't be helping their teammates.
So, a couple more seconds as you saw that one closing out there. But the beginning, I guess we all expected from Kazna. Of course, you guys at home are backing them in your droves. But I do see the Twitch spam coming in for KB. Feel free to say the name again if you want to get Twitch chat really riled up.
Knackebrod.
Nice.
I can't do it.
I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm not going to do it. He flat out refuses, you guys. You need to encourage him in every way possible. But it looks like the teams are almost ready. We'll be jumping into game any second now. But your predictions in this one? Is it going to be a 2-0 here?
I think the defensive side lends to be a little bit more slow and harder to play. But yeah, Kazna obviously more comfortable in this map, and I think that's what really going to suit them best and give them a good advantage.
Well, we're going to find out how this one ends up. You can see the lineups there. Anything standing out to you thus far?
No, I guess a slightly faster lineup from Kazna with that only 1 T110, only 1 heavy tank. The rest are just medium. So obviously, that T110 going to be providing some turret damage, not going to move too far. Going to be very hard to take down in general, as we saw. R-Tor took a long time to fall. But yeah, with all those other medium tanks, it's going to be a lot more flexible. KB is going to maybe struggle a little bit more to decide what they want to do. And with all those T110s going forward, all 3 of them just going straight towards that cap, this could be a very quick engagement as Kazna's also going to heading them up in the middle.
Oh, this is going to be curious, isn't it? KB heading right towards him. There was a touch of an eastern split, but also 3 tanks heading that way as well from Kazna. So Kazna looking to meet them on every single front. They're not going to be playing this one passively, and look at the damage already coming in. First shells assigned to fly. Crux and Failware receiving those head on, but the T110s, they're going to keep rolling. They're not going to stop anytime soon. They're looking for that western side presence, and they might just get it.
Yeah, and also we got an interesting situation on that right side where you have 3 tanks, 2 tier 9s, and Eurofishing the Object 140. And this could be bad news for Kazna Crew if KB just decide to push in against these three. Obviously, they can get the overmatch, and you can see already, isn't he just getting taken so low? Hyber receiving a couple of shells as well. It's not gone so well for Kazna right now.
No, it's certainly not looking a little bit worse for Wear here. Can Kazna turn it around, though? That's a big thing. Already Healthfish going to catch out Hyber, so a perfect beginning. You can see Kazna wanted to turn this one around, but can they do the damage? Stefan going to fly in there, look for Crux, straight away shell, now ready to be placed, and he gets it. Now Arto on the receiving end, but let's bear in mind, these T110s, they're hefty. They got a lot to work with here, a lot of HP, but Failware is not going to be doing exactly what I expected. Nexus has a shell. He's looking for the shot. He gets it, and Kazna keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, they're trying to get the overmatch on that western side as quickly as possible, but those bad chats will eventually get on reload and be able to go in, so Kazna only have a very small window to win this.
They certainly do. It's slowly but surely being withered away, and look at this Paycat now falling, leaves only 3 alive for KB, and they had the perfect start. They had a great opportunity, but Kazna just kind of tightened the noose and brought it back for them. Now Paddy's going to try and do some damage towards it, but Eurofish takes away his standing teammate. Now once again, 2 left, Tarantula being one of them. Had to at least take down 1 with him, but Tarantula left just a mile away from anything relevant. And that 1390 is going to be swept away very quickly.
Yeah, this once again, this AMX 1390 really has no chance against 4 Tier 10 tanks from Kazna Crew, and this will be another win for Kazna, quite significantly as well. You can see 5k HP almost in favor for them, and Vetso just playing around with Tarantula a little bit, and will take him down. So 2-0 now to the Kazna boys, and 2 pretty convincing rounds, despite Kazna losing those 2 T54s at the beginning, or 1 T54 at the beginning.
Yeah.
They managed to quickly, immediately, I would say, push into those 3 T110s, get them down, get control of that area, and then those Batchats coming in were already slow to a pace where they couldn't use that forward firepower, and you know, that T110 was still alive. So I think Kazna made the right decision, got in the right positions, and did a lot of damage.
And I love this. And I think it's Hyber who goes down first, or is it Yisni? I'm not too sure. I'll keep our eyes on it. You'll see it happen in the background, but while you see them taking damage, I think it is Hyber who falls first. It is. You can see them already planning their response, already planning how to make the most of this. They catch out, they note 3 players over towards the eastern side, and then make the most of these T110s. Not exactly an easy target either, bearing in mind.
No, they're very hard to take down indeed, but when you're coming from all different angles, you can pretty easily slice your way through them. So it's a 2-for-1 exchange right now. Well, no, it's a 2-for-2 exchange right now, but you can see Kazna 2,000 hit points ahead because they're taking down those tier 10 heavies. And then Paycat goes down because KB aren't really together. You can see they're kind of segregated. Hellish tries to come in, but obviously a bit too late. Eurofish just slows him right down in that bat chat and keeps himself safe behind that building.
Yeah, obviously. A couple of pieces falling into the right place for Kazna, but those boys are so prolific at working out advantages, even when they don't have them at the beginning. That's what I love about Kazna. They've taken some of those abilities that you only saw in the hands of, you know, your School Bus, your Velas Pro back in many a moons ago now, where even if they didn't have the initial advantage, they found that path to get back into control, which I love seeing, and it's really good seeing it even placed on Moravanka, a map that doesn't always lend to it, because it can be quite a large map. It's a lot of traversing to do, but it did work out in the end for Kazna. So 2-0 already. Now, your favourite map's coming up next.
Definitely not.
What are we going to see here? Because I haven't casted Ruinberg yet. Is it still the same old Ruinberg?
It's pretty much the same old Ruinberg. We saw one little anomaly where Wombats on Tanks got 2-0 by Utopia on this map last match day. But that's just like, I don't know, Wombats just didn't play very well that whole match. They managed to win it in the end, but, you know, you got Kusok just pushing over the middle of the map, getting taken down at T110. So it's still defense side has a massive advantage, attack side has a bit of a disadvantage, and you know, you're pretty much going to see a 1-1 in most occasions. I think we had 66%, 68% of the time last season when the defensive side won on this map. So I think we'll have a pretty similar trend here.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I don't see why it would change too much. The tanks still play within the same remit, I guess, as the previous game mode to a degree. You'll still see that similar kind of skeleton form, I guess, in this. So we'll have to wait and see how these two come in it. I guess on paper by now, if we look at Moravanka, it's certainly Kazna with the upper hand, but whether or not they can, you know, push that advantage home and have so much of an upper hand, they get a 2-0 on this is yet to be seen. I can imagine this will be a 1-1 going forward, but that's a safe bet. But Melly, just a quick check-in with you, of course, and the people out at home. You know, it was a Kazna Crew let's say fan base, at least on Facebook and such, where it matters. But Twitch chat, we're being vocal.
Absolutely.
So how's it looking so far on the votes? Is it updated at all?
It is, and it's still the same. It's still stuck on 82% for Kazna crew.
82.
But as you said, Knackebrod fans in Twitch chat are going wild and crazy.
I appreciate that.
Pride. Yep.
I appreciate that. Get those rainbows flying in chat.
They
great.
do.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It makes me happy to see it's so colourful.
It's a nice looking kind of thing. At least you guys make it pretty in chat. So, Melly, if they do want to get those last minute votes in, they can still do so,
over
right?
on Facebook, of course.
Go ahead over there. WGLEU is behind them most of the time, so it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Make it very visual for you guys. Visuals are easy to reference, but still, I think the teams are almost ready. We can get ourselves heading into this one. You can have a look at the lineups coming into this. Anything standing out to you coming into this one that's a little bit different to Runeberg, or is this what we're used to now?
Again, those FE215Bs are not the tank destroyer version; they're the normal heavy tank version. So yeah, going to see a lot of those heavy tanks. The Object 263. AMX50B, T62As, pretty standard stuff for Runeberg. I mean, of course, Kazna being the defensive side, I guess a little bit surprising that they've gone with the Batchat T62A, but we've seen a couple of medium tanks, so maybe not too surprising. And of course, Knackebrod on the Object 140 is just surging forward straight through the middle.
So here we go. My welcome into the delight that is Runeberg. It's KB on the attack. It's going to be Kazna on the defense, and already the damage is going to start flying. But actually, it's Eurofish who takes a face full of that. Batchat is going to have to back away, as he's already down to around half HP, taking a lot for absolutely zero gained. Hello, I fell where at least received one shell. But already, KB looking like they mean business here.
Yeah, I mean, straight away, just going straight in, but still, Kazna crew, we've got a lot of HP, and Vetso has got the control over the zero line as well. He might have to be careful, though, as there's some different tanks on different angles, but AMX50B is just pummeling KB.
It's going to be a little bit of a painful exchange thus far. Kazna, can you turn this one around? Eurofish will catch out Crocs. Crocs has been falling pretty swiftly in these, and actually, oh lord, Paycat is just out in the open here. Great little crossfire going to come in from Vetso, who doesn't even get pressured. Normally by this point, you see 2-3 tanks trying to pressure that southeastern corner, the furthest southeastern point at this sort of aspect, but Vetso given free reign, and you see that crossfire truly coming in. Nice little bit of a connection coming out from Arta, but still, Vetso's still alive somehow.
Exactly. I mean, that's a good bounce there from Trench. Obviously, the T2A with a good turret armor, but I think it's a good pick, actually, that Object 263. Very, very high DPM kind of gun. And, well, the highest DPM in the game, I should say. Stefan taking down Tarantula, I believe. Well, that's going to give Vetso complete control over the zero line. Hellish having to run away in the Object 140, sorry. So Kazna crew, I think a lot of pressure has gone on them at the beginning, and to be fair, the HP is not that dissimilar, but you're talking about a 7 versus 4 situation, so they are still ahead in that respect.
So, KB, let's see if you can work this one back into your true favor, of course. There is small pieces in their favor, but positionally, Kazna have the lockdown. The thing I really love about this is the fact that Vetso did get free reign on that zero line. Even if he's a little weak, a little worse for wear, I think he's got some backup en route, so he's going to have a chance to keep that under wraps. But the responses from KB, look elsewhere, find other options, and they're trying to find it out here. But already Pat is taking a lot of damage, and Yizny isn't too far away either. No,
Yizny is trying to sidescrape as much as he can. Almighty Arthur heading towards the middle of that Object 263, but Pani going down as he was a one-shot on the FE215B. Failware in the same tank, hull down right now, that British tier 10 heavy tank, pretty good hull down. Got some weak spots on the turret, but that position is very hard to penetrate indeed. Interesting is they got Hellish though up north, and he could actually find both these two if they don't start connecting their shells soon.
Oh, well, that's one way to answer that question. Vetso's going to connect to perfect one. Hellfish misses, leaving Vetso with another shot to be made. And Failware, in the meantime, also receiving damage. This is just, trying to put fires out on several fronts, and Hellfish missing again. Failware, this tank can't exactly turn like a beast. It can't exactly have all this utility that comes along with maybe what Hyber and Yizny are running. And already Eurofish going to take down Hellfish, and these two are in a dire situation. Failware, nice work on that. You don't want to challenge that tank head on, but Hyber dancing with the devil right now. Failware has another shot to be made. Can't get it. Stefan will find him, and we're going to be down to one man standing. Yeah,
Almighty Arthur. I mean, that tank does so much damage, you simply can't exchange against it. 8-second reload, 590 damage can pump out. Not the strongest tank, as you can see. Almighty Arthur finds one, Stefan, but Nexus finds him back, and it will be Kazna crew with the third round on the board, as expected on the defensive side here at Runeberg. A much closer game than I would have thought, though, because of the extreme pressure you saw KB just pushing up straight through the middle of the Object 140s, with support in the background with that Russian Tier 10 tank destroyer. It worked out pretty well, but Kazna managed to get control of the zero line.
That's my point here. You know, I feel that if maybe they'd split their attention, put some pressure, let's say, across that central point, which they did, but you see the 2 tanks splitting down here, the 251, and I believe one other was following along, but the problem is that no one really picked up on Vet, so you see Hellfish getting a little bit of damage done early, but you know, what happened to this 251? Tarantula had the opportunity to do some work here, but he just didn't pressure Vetso down. No,
I mean, I think that's probably what they should have done. But it would have been really hard. I mean, what really does KB have to take down Vetso? I mean, Vetso got 1 kill, was a very significant kill, but everyone from Kazna Crew did a pretty similar amount of damage, from like 2.7k down to about 1.3k, which says it was a pretty close round. And Almighty Altor, the only one really performing well with 3,100 and that 263. So I just think just maybe some individual mistakes we didn't really get to see there from KB. FV215B is not quite doing the work they should have done. And maybe that 263 spent a bit too much time down south, should have helped his 263s in that middle area and you know, try and won it through that central place.
Couple of issues then showing maybe in this one, but I want to see now how Kazna do on their attack, because this has always been the big point. It's, okay, you're defending on Ruinberg, congratulations, but the attack has been relatively hard to find consistent victories on, at least in my eyes, if you don't get those small pieces into place, which, you know, it's happened, it's just not a consistent factor. So big challenge now coming in on this side is, can Kazna pick up the victory here? The defense wasn't exactly the hard point. Do you reckon they can do it?
Well, I think it's going to be, you know, a very hard game. I think Kazna Crew need to play really, really well, like not make hardly any mistakes, if any. Their tank lineup needs to be really good and work for the tactic they have in mind. They need to do early damage to KB, have something up their sleeve, don't know what that is. Have something up their sleeve and, yeah, execute perfectly, because KB obviously have the positional play right now, the positional advantage.
So we'll find out very soon. I can see the players are almost ready to get this one started, so I won't be holding you back much longer, guys. But of course, thoughts through to us on Twitter, hashtag WGLEU. If you've got a better idea of how you would attack on Ruinberg, of course, is an idea that I'd love to hear from. I love the theory crafting we did with Still Mojo. I think it was Daki, about how to actually attack on this map. It's certainly a tough question. If you guys have got some answers, let us know. Melly will be keeping tabs on that, and we can have a nice discussion afterwards. But anyway, that aside, it's almost time to get our heads into the matchup. But thus far, it's been Kazna Crew's display. You can see those lineups are locked in now. Nothing too surprising to you here, or anything that jumps out?
Well, a lot heavier lineup than for Kazna Crew. They've got 4 heavy tanks and 2 IS-7s, which says to me straight away that they will be going for that 2-cap, trying to go hull down, and the 250Bs as sniping support. So a lot heavier, which is, in my opinion, probably the more smart choice. But of course, KB have gone for full defensive lineup with the IS-4s, the IS-4, the IS-7s, E50M, which is an interesting pick, a lot of HP there, and the AMX-50B, maybe trying to roll off that hill a little bit. Eurofish going aggressive at the beginning, though, trying to get up with their current Tarantula.
Here we go. Let's see if the Kazna boys have something up their sleeve, as Ollie put it. And Tarantula taking a beating, his legs being ripped off piece by piece, and Eurofish once more wants to squidge that spider, and he does. Already a perfect start for Kazna. Yeah,
really nice little start there, taking that 251. Not a critical blow yet for KB, but you know, that 251 we've seen in a lot of games being, you know, doing 3,000, 3,500 plus HP damage. It can find its way onto your flank and your behind very quickly and be really a big thorn in the side. So kind of like T1 was in 742, but actually able to do some proper damage. So that's a good start there for Kazna Crew. Picture perfect, received hardly anything, control over the zero line as well, but Eurofish gets spotted and, you know, immediately punished. Yeah,
he needs to get out of that. Bachan not exactly brilliant just on the head-on-head fight. He needs to be a little careful. The damage is certainly potent, but he needs to be cautious with how long he stands around here. And Eurofish is an individual player, certainly talented. And Vetso and Yizny trying to get some damage done towards our northern side. So an interesting start here from Kazna. They've certainly split their attention throughout this map.
They're doing well against Hellish as well. Obviously, 50M with 2,050 HP can sustain through a lot of it, but eventually he's going to have to rock out of there. Be careful. Eurofish being pretty slippery at the moment, but it's got to be careful he doesn't overstretch his mark, overtest himself. But Kazna Crew, as you mentioned, you know, spread from north to south, trying every angle, trying to win a lot of exchanges, trying to get some early damage, and, well, Hyber just gets his driver taken out But I must admit, Yizny Vetso, who have been playing very well as a duo for the season so far, are starting to whittle themselves an advantage up here in the north. And I think you'll see Eurofish, maybe that 50B as well, rotate and actually help those two for a push.
And I quite like this. Kazna Crew keeping their options open, not just fully committing towards one piece of the puzzle and just trying to put all their attention towards that slightly more southern cap. Actually, you know, we rarely see teams being able to pull off the northern side of things. We saw, what was it, that box tactic that came out before.
Penta-box tactic.
Yeah, you know, that, you know, these one-offs.
Team Supreme.
Yeah, these one-offs work every now and then, but it's nice to see people going back to something maybe a little bit more robust, a little bit more well-rounded, if it works out, of course. But KB still will have an advantage in this one. They still are slightly higher up on HP. They are, you know, missing a tank, but that's nothing massive at this point. As you said, it's not exactly the biggest of losses. But Eurofish going to kind of put himself into spot, get that cap started, and try and hold firm. Of course, there will be a response, though. Yeah,
so good play by KB to realize that probably Kazna Crew are going to end up pushing the northern area. But still, they're doing so much damage. Eurofish hasn't even been spotted. He's able to do 3 damage against Pycat on the side of that AMX-50B. Vetso Yizny also received nothing for going up north, so they can keep control. But that T-54 might struggle to penetrate the IS-4 at some point, and the IS-4 is a great side-scraping tank.
Yizny's going to feel the brunt of that. You absolutely put the, well, it was a bit of a nail on the head there. Yizny has to back away from this one. Vetso's going to fancy his chances a little closer, maybe a little bit braver, or maybe a little bit stupider. Who knows? Yizny's going to take some Elian as well. And even though Kazna were chipping away, working out this advantage, little by little, you're seeing it turn around. However, Hellfish now taken down. KB are dwindling in numbers. That's the only point here. They are starting to lose out on tanks, and a lot of damage is coming in piece by piece. None, however, being initially focused. Pad is the one who's going low here, as Hyber's in that little bit of a battle with Arta as well. But it's still, you know, it can swing either way at this point.
Yeah, I mean, KB are still hanging on. I think if Kazna Crew really want to break their backs, they need to use their 2 T-54s to take down the IS-4 a lot quicker than they are, because the problem is the AMX-50B in the behind is now in a position to push in and actually take down these 2 T-54s. They have to be very careful, but another kill, the 3rd one in a row now for Kazna.
4 now remain for KB. This is starting to look worse and worse. Now, Paycat wants to save the day. He wants to come into this and clean up, but that's not how you start it. Vetso had to go down in 1, but he does at least take him down on the 2nd time of asking. Now, further damage comes through. Hyber's going to catch out Arta, leaving 3 alive. Crux is on 16 HP. This is looking disastrous. Great stuff from Kazna. They're low, but they've got 2 players to pick up here. Now, Failware, sure, that IS-4 is a bit of a pain in the ass to get out of this one, but it can be done. They have the numbers to do this. The cap's still going. Crux is removed. Failware needs to go big. First shot comes in, delivered and signed by Nexus, but here we go. Failware's going to catch out Yizny. Elian fancies a little bit of a go at this one. Don't want to go in 1 by 1 here. You don't want to give Failware the opportunity to do something with this. And Elian going to try and work his way around. Chipped away at by Eurofish there. And there we go. Eurofish seals the deal. And Kazna with the 4-0. Picking up 2 rounds on Ruinberg. That itself is impressive.
Yeah, just proving me wrong as well. Just throwing my prediction out the window. But I think that's more of a testament. I'm going to swing that round. More of a testament of Kazna Crew's just pure ability right now. I mean, this is they're on their way. I mean, they're 80% through to coming for their 2nd 5-0. You know, against Rusty Roster, they got 5-0.
It's pretty impressive.
And now they're 4-0 here against KB. So 2 very good results coming in. I mean, let's be honest, Kazna pretty much won this match, or at least got 1 point on the board. Yep. KB have been crushed. That was the first round in Ruinberg where we had a situation where it wasn't like, okay, so Wombats got taken down very early on, you know, one of their tanks got cancelled out. Kazna fought for that. They were winning the exchanges. They had the tactics. Every single kind of part of their tactic really worked for them, and yeah, really, really good stuff. I think KB held on well, but they just simply couldn't handle the pressure from every angle.
And that's it. It was from every single angle. It wasn't just one line of attack. It wasn't just that presence towards the kind of southeastern side, I guess. The northern side had, you know, 2 tanks initially. They swung 2 more up. They were really mobile, highly kind of just playing their game. They made, you know, KB have to play their style, which is extraordinarily hard to do on the attack, let alone on Ruinberg. So 2 big ticks next to the Kazna Crew name. Now the next map coming up, Ghost Town.
Yep.
Not you know, it may not be your favorite like Ruinberg is, but is there a chance here for KB? Because this is surely looking almost impossible by this point.
When I first saw Kazna Crew on Ghost Town, I was like, meh, kind of...
well, we saw it in the show match, didn't we?
Kind of bad, yeah. I mean, that's the first time we saw it last week as well, early in the match days.
Yeah.
And then the second time they played it against I think it was Rusty Roster, and they just decided to be super aggressive, go across the middle, go for those exchanges.
You did mention it earlier, yeah.
So I think this is what this could happen. But just quickly through the damages, Eurofish 3.4k, 2 kills, and Almighty Artor with 3,000 from his IS-7. So those two performing well.
Yep. But anyway, enough of us. Melly, how are the people at home doing? Because they voted
good,
in
actually.
their droves, right, for Kazna, and now they're on the 4-0 verge. They must be happy.
Absolutely. I mean, the vote even went higher, up to 86%,
Wow.
which is
That's ridiculous.
remarkably, yes. And the predictions are going like, well, I just checked the exact entries, and we have
Yep.
roughly 7% voting for a 5-0, which is fairly few, but I think they will adjust as soon as they see the 4th round, which went also in favor of Kazna Crew, of course. And I could imagine that it's pretty hurting for Knackebrod, who won their first 2 games.
Can I just note that I look a bit like, I don't know, like I've got a headdress on right now on the thing. Like,
Oh,
can
yes.
you see that? Yeah.
True.
It's nice.
Like with the logo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A halo.
A halo made out of bread.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's good because good
can't
Halo
dream.
might even
Better
be the
than
better sign of
nothing.
Halo.
Exactly. I think I need to go get some bread later.
Yeah, Hovis. Everyone likes
Treat myself.
best of both. My favourite one. Just saying.
But I'm just going to leave it for a second.
Just
to dwell
leave that
on
one there. I
Just-
think everyone's
just
agreeing
leave it out.
in the background, and people are like, oh,
just gonna
sometimes a bit
lean
of
over this
Warburton, whatever it's called.
Warburtons.
Yes, whatever.
Yes, whatever.
Don't get that here, but you have to go to bakery to
I
buy.
do miss English bread. Like, I know that sounds weird. Like, some German stuff is really good, though. What's the
Some?
If you go to a bakery, you can get
yeah,
some sick
like
bread.
it's actually
some
really
next
good.
level bread.
Yeah, like they do like their own kind of like tiger bread as well. It's really, really awesome.
It is good.
But bread aside, let's talk about KB. You know, Melly's laughing at us again. I don't know why. We have some really deep analysis talks about bread here. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. Anyway, Ghost Town coming in. What do we make of these two lineups?
So, I mean, pretty much identical. A couple of switcheroos. Cancer Crew with the FE215B stack, and KB with the T110, which is, of course, what they've been favouring a lot in these last 4 matches going into our fifth round now. On Ghost Town, KB played very well against Penta, winning 2 rounds in a row, so maybe this is where they can actually get their comeback, or at least 1 or 2 rounds on the board, and not make this a whitewash for Kazna Crew.
For pride's sake, let's hope so. KB on the defensive side, Kazna on the attack. Last time you noted they went aggressive, they wanted to take those fights. Whether or not they do that now is the next big thing. Let's see what Kazna do, taking themselves into this matchup here. As already going to take position towards the south, something we didn't see in the earlier games.
No, so exactly. Last time we saw this, I mean, obviously in the first match of today, it was more about the northern play. Both teams in the south, both trying to get to those exchanges. Now you have a 3 versus 2 situation here, 4 actually. Vetso probably should go forwards and try and go for those exchanges, but KB just not wanting to waste any time, just pushing forwards, trying to get the fight to Kazna Crew, as it might have been their best chance. So far they've been quite passive. They've been letting Kazna Crew come to them.
Let's see how this goes. Let's see if Kazna's got a little bit of a trick up their sleeve. Looking for options. Actually, Kazna taking a beating here. This is massive, Ollie. This could really actually work out in KB's favour. I want them to finally keep hold of this advantage, because thus far they've been let slip. Now Crux is being held back. He's being pinned into position. But those 3 tanks, they're actually doing the work here. Finally, we're seeing a little bit of a fight back from KB.
Yeah, and because Crux didn't go down, it's going well for KB. I mean, that damage there, that first kill comes in, but you can see KB is quite far ahead in terms of hit points.
They should keep hold of this. There's nothing really the Kazna should be able to do by this point. Look at this overwhelming presence from KB, focusing towards Vetso and Nexus. Nexus just gets deleted off the map. 4 remain for Kazna, who can do nothing but watch. Surely Yizny the 1390 is going to find a bit of room to breathe here, but in the meantime, Vetso back to back, getting absolutely hammered into this corner, leaving 3 alive. But let's remind ourselves, there's only 4 here for KB as well, but the HP is drastically in their favor.
And Yizny gets permatrack there. He should have probably gone for Crux, but Stefan in the game. Crux doing very well in the background, not getting himself taken down, not getting himself focused out.
Stefan, it's all on you, buddy. What can you pull off here? He's got 2 shells to make. Going to connect the first there. Farewell will at least reply, but not to too much of a degree. 1 more shell to make. He's lining that one up, trying to deliver as perfectly as possible, but Eurofish in the meantime struggling here, but he does at least take down Crux. So Eurofish still doing damage. They're not going down with that fight. Finally, Hellfish takes him down, but Stefan on the run. Both tanks will have reload, and one will deliver in the end. KB live to at least, I don't know, pull back in a little bit of face at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what they needed to do at the beginning. Kazna Crew will beat them when it comes to those more classical engagements, but then they decided just to go aggressive, push forward. Kazna Crew were stuck between, you know, position A and position B, which is a perfect timing for them, and they managed to get a great overmatch. Crux didn't go down, which worked out very well for KB, as he did a good amount of damage. And yeah, I think, you know, Kazna Crew didn't get that first exchange right. They lost 3,000 hit points before they really did any of their own. And despite getting that first kill, which we see quite a lot, they didn't get the first bit of damage.
This is impressive stuff from KB. Whether it's, you know, lucky timing, whether it's great knowledge, who cares? They got the round, and that's the important factor, that they actually got one on the board finally, because it seemed like a long time in the making here. But as you said, they caught them in between kind of rotations, caught them in between plays. Crux did get caught out, but did a good bit of work there. But in the meantime, this was the attention. You know, Paycat, Arta, Hellfish, all doing damage. Great overall damage. You see a little bit of reply from Stefan in the end, but it didn't seem to matter. KB closed out. Yeah,
exactly. This is just an unstoppable force right now. Even with Vetso and the E100, there's no chance. Damage quickly, Eurofish again with that autoload of 50B, 3,500 damage, and Failware in the FE215B with 3,255 damage. I think, you know, Stefan playing at the end, he did a nice little trick there where he pretended he was reloading, so he could use the extremely fast turret rotation of the 50B to swing around and take down Crux, who was on no HP at all. So that's a little bit cheeky from him, like that. But yeah, finally KB in the game again. This is what they seem to be lacking: some aggression, some firepower. And I think they're a little bit more comfortable on Ghost Town. They could pick up this next round as well.
I'm almost hoping so. If they can keep that sort of performance up, I definitely want to see more of them going forward. We have to see if they can find a little bit more of that magic, though, coming into the second round. Let's bear in mind that looked like Kazna being a little bit tentative. You know, as you noted, they were aggressive before. I was kind of hoping for a little bit of that aggression again. Didn't seem to have it. Got caught in between maneuvers there, and KB made the most of it. That's the important factor. Now, wonder if they can do that again. Who knows? It's down now to Kazna to close out the game. If you open that door even just a little bit, there's always an opportunity for teams to start building back, getting that confidence, start working their way in.
No.
And you don't want that. Now, Kazna can just put their foot down. This is what we're going to see now. Whether or not they can do it in this map. They're obviously on match point. They want to get a nice clean victory. Want to keep those kind of, you know, not losing out at any point here. Yeah. Now, anything changing coming in here, or does this look fairly similar?
Pretty similar lineups on Ghost Town. I mean, we're seeing 50Bs, FE215Bs, T54s, Batchats, E100s, that kind of shebang. Saw a couple of the big German tank destroyers, the GV E100s as well, and Jagdpanzers, GV Jagdpanzers as well, and maybe going to be used at some point again, but these two teams are going to be sticking to the heavy tanks as well. Kazna Crew have an opportunity now to defend, and well, KB have the harder side, in my opinion, to attack.
All right, so a bit of a switcheroo here. Kazna, as you said, on the defending side, they'll be heading towards the south, maybe looking for more of a, I don't know, maybe hoping to catch these guys out, because it looks like they're going to rotate around each other. Or they could always just slip back up the north if they fancy it. Bearing in mind, while this happens, KB are heading towards that northern side of the map.
Yeah, KB are going for that northern cap straight off the bat. No IS-7s from them. Oh, they got one IS-7. I guess that's going to be for the capping. So, yeah, that's, you can see immediately get heading into B6 into the cap and put the pressure on. Kazna Crew not really close, so could be a bit awkward for them. But of course, if they get the T54 lightweight in the right T54, they can get it in the right position. Could be pretty good news overall. But still, Kazna Crew caught out slightly. Got to react fast. Got to get into position as fast as KB have gone for that northern cap and going to be staying there.
All right, let's see what Kazna's got. Now they're being forced to make the play. They need to be pretty precise with this one, bearing in mind they did get caught out before. Now, Crux is a little bit of a dangerous predicament here. He may look alone. He does have backup towards that eastern side. He's going to get the first shot towards Yizny. Back away a touch. And actually, Nexus going to make the peek here. Here we go. Looks for Crux. Gets the shot in. But still, while this happens, that cap is slowly ticking away. It's not exactly the main focus. That T54 towards the northern side is looking maybe for some resets into this, if possible, on that IS-7. But certainly not the easiest of tasks at this point.
No, for sure. So actually right now going well for KB, getting some good exchanges. Crux is a bit of a carrot on a stick right now and has done good work against Yizny in the Conqueror, the tier 9 British heavy tank. And Elian trying to land some against Failware, but it's going to be a hard job, and even with HE, it can just bounce off the top of that IS-7 turret very easy. One of the best turreted tanks you can see. But at the moment, Crux is really having a hard decision. Does he aim towards the Conqueror, or does he aim towards Vetso and Nexus? And if he aims at one of the other two, you can just straight away retract back and get the shot.
You can see in the meantime as well, Hyber then went for the commitment towards that IS-7. I believe the reset did come through. However, Failware did manage to land a hell of a lot of damage towards Hyber. He's down to 56 HP. Eurofish going to move in. Elian as well going to start heading through towards the capping. So hello.
Game crash.
Circle, but don't worry, we've got backups. And you won't miss any of the action. So the cap circle is being dealt with. But look at Kazna crew dwindling a little in HP by this point after that back of that commitment.
Yeah, Nexus go 1 versus 1 against Crux. There's no one really else there. Hellish, though, in the background, taking a lot of damage from the 50Bs. So this is quite an interesting game. I mean, at the moment, it's a game of who can get the exchanges right, who can get the damage. But, you know, Crux has to fall sometime soon.
God, and Yizny had the shot then, but he just couldn't make it count. And now in the background, look at Tarantula on the rotate here, on the flank, going to get a nice little bit of free damage coming through. But he's got to be careful now. He's going to take a little bit as well, but he does split the attention. Now Nexus turns turret, looks for Tarantula, gets him down, but in the meantime, looking back towards the north here, Elian trying to do what he can, but Failware's going to have the shell, lands it, and piece by piece, KB are looking like they're on point to pick this map up.
Still close, though. I mean, 600 HP difference between these two teams. Kazna have the higher ground, and they've still got Vetso and E100 who can just chunk some of these tier 10 tanks down and obviously be very strong. But Paddock gets caught out. Stefan with a beautiful play there has swung it back in Kazna's favor.
2 shells still to make as well. This is looking dangerous now, looking at this one. 4 players for Kazna, 4 standing for KB. And again, Arthur gets caught a little here. But where are they going to take this? The cap is still underway, but it's got so much time left. May not even be the most important factor, but bear in mind, both teams have to be so cautious with this, so careful, so on point. You're seeing Failware and Paycat moving in, Hellfish towards the left, Arthur towards the right, and it's going to be a head-on-head clash here, and Yizny gets caught out, 1 shell back, but this is disastrous. Kazna being caught out, and KB looking to turn this one on its head. They need to finish this off, seal the deal, as they say, and Hellfish has the shell, but Paycat lands it, leaving it a 3v4 in favor to KB.
Yeah, definitely. That wasn't a good push there for Kazna crew. They lost like 3,000 hit points for no reason at all. Don't think Kazna crew was right ready for that, and Stefan going for that peak has fluffed his lines a little bit. 2 versus 4. Good little comeback here by KB. Looks like they're going to pick up their second round on Ghost Town. Oh,
this is brilliant from them. Unless Nexus and Stefan can do something somewhat of a miracle. Nexus needs to land something incredible coming around this. Arthur is his main target of focus, but Hellfish splits on the side, and he's going to have free reign towards him. Nexus down to a 1-shot. Stefan trying to stave off the Wolves. Nice work from Nexus there. Not quite enough damage to take down Arthur. They're all so low. Stefan had the chance, whiffs it, but the trade out comes in. Now Nexus in a 1v2. He doesn't have the shell yet, as Hellfish does. And KB pick up the victory with such little HP left, but it's a map under the belt.
Yeah, another good round there from KB on Ghost Town. Keeping their cool. I think that's now 5-1 kind of scoreline for them, 4-1. If you look at their overall Ghost Town record.
So wait, that would be the what?
Yeah, they've won 2 against Penta. They've won 2 against Kazna crew just there as well. So they're doing well. Ding as well. They won against, so 5-1. So good scoreline for them, finally getting themselves back into this match. I think Kazna crew probably gave it away there with that Vetso push forwards. A little bit unnecessary, but KB did a good job of just keeping their tanks back, waiting for that push, and of course when the E100 just pushes forwards, you've got that nice little beautiful underplate to shoot at. Very easy to take down. And I think maybe Kazna should have been a little bit more patient with that push, come from a different angle, let Stefan and Nexus play their game.
So yeah, I feel as though they've got to like match point. They're going, well, we're on match point. Like, you know, let's just push. But it does open the door to possibilities. What? It's 4-2 now. Yeah. So it suddenly comes into, okay, we need to start focusing up a little bit here. Let's, you know, not let this spiral away. Let's not let this slip until we actually lose out on points, because you want that clean victory as much as possible. So what's the next map coming in here?
Steps.
Steps. Okay.
Yeah.
So how is Steps being played out thus far? You know, first time I'm going to be seeing the new game mode, relatively similar to before, or how are they kind of, you know, focusing down the northern side of things? Because, you know, I don't know how many low-profile tanks there are these days to try and do that little sneaky cap towards the north. Is that still a factor here?
Yeah, I mean, that is a factor for sure, that Northern Cap is still being pressured. Of course, the big difference is no like T-32 tank to sit and just, spam that 90mm shells to get the reset. So I think we're seeing a lot more kind of faster tanks, the Object 140s, the SDBs, aggressive firepower going in, trying to get those exchanges. And but it does in general play out pretty similarly to how we saw it in 754.
Okay, and Kazna was certainly no strangers to this map back then, so if they only saw that prowess they previously had, this could be, the closing point, let's call it. But I want to see how this now plays out. I can imagine artillery plays quite the big factor in this map as well. It's something that we actually saw it even in, I guess, the last game mode, occasionally being dabbled with. We saw a couple of teams maybe deciding to utilize it. Whether it be the downfall or not is yet to be seen, but of course that was quite some time ago. But still, you guys at home have been keeping those votes coming through. Melly, are they still, behind KB now? Is there anyone starting to, cheer for them, or is it all the Kazna crew boys?
Well, kind of. KB, take my energy. That's really cute.
Melly, don't be a little memer. Look at you. Look at you, Twitch chat. You're twisting her. She used to be a nice person.
Yeah.
No, that's nothing bad. It reminds me of Dragon Ball, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So people, keep
Melly
those memes coming, and there, I said it. Use the hashtag WGLEU on Twitter to send them to us. I got really nice pictures of Spagball, to be honest.
Yeah?
On my Twitter timeline. Thanks for that. I'm not hungry already or something, so...
You're welcome.
I'm really hungry. Should we go get Spagball afterwards, guys?
Oh, that's
Sounds
a good
good.
idea.
Yeah.
Let's go to Italy.
Since this is
Road trip.
settled, the next vote is up soonish, so head over to Facebook and keep an eye on there.
Alrighty, and we are getting ourselves prepared on this side of things for steps. Of course, you can see the lineups there, and well, that's quite stacked.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of 140s. As I told you, there's not a lot of those T-32-like tanks. Maybe a T-110E5 could take that position, but it's just not that fast firing to get the resets that often. Eurofish, though, playing the artillery 261, been featured, I think, 3 times this season so far. Semi-successfully, of course, very accurate, but you need to know where you're aiming, you need to know what you're doing, and Eurofish is that man in a lot of these cases. So on the attack, he's got to hit the shells. 2 M46 pattern, that's interesting. Not the greatest penetration in the world, but good hull down tank, a lot of HP, a lot of damage, 390 average. It can compete with the tier 10s, but a lot of the teams would have picked a T-54 instead.
Okay, so a little bit of variety, a little bit of spice in this. Hyber trying to switch things up. Now seeing Eurofish making that first shell, nothing going to come from that. And while that happens, KB are going to make their presence not necessarily noted towards the western side, but they are going to start heading down the western front, possibly trying to keep that pressure on towards Kazna, allow them that freedom that you sometimes get on the attacking side. And Vetso might just be inundated with information very soon.
Yeah, he's going to find those Object 140s, but there's not really that much spotting from KB coming out for that right side. I mean, the AMX 1390 was in a position, but not in a great position, so he couldn't really see too much. He's got to go aggressive into that trench if he really wants to find information. KB, I think, are probably playing it right now because Kazaku with so many hull-down tanks, such a defensive position at the beginning. If KB went forward, they'd just get absolutely trounced, obliterated, wiped off the map. So KB now heading up to the right side, probably going to retract back a little bit here, but you can see Vetso pushing forward in that AMX 1390, in that bat chat, sorry. And he's got to be careful, though, because so many tanks there waiting for KB.
Yeah. Vetso, you're about 10 seconds away from doom if he does keep heading in that direction, but he does, slow it down a little, find position, and wait for anything to come his way. Nothing there, just trying to spot anyone out at the moment. And to be fair, if he lines it up for his compadre in the artillery, it'd be absolutely perfect, but nothing coming of it just yet. 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. These two teams not really moving much here. This is quite the passive start, I feel.
The trap, exactly. It's exactly what I think is going on here. The Object 140s all behind positions, all ready and waiting for Kazna crew. And Kazna don't have any information. So really, technically, if Kazna's really thinking about this, they shouldn't walk into that one because they haven't spotted it at all.
No, Vetso.
Oh, now we've spotted it. No damage. Crooks get spotted and the trap has been sprung unsuccessfully here for Knackebrod. And Kazna crew should be able to get away with this one, and they will just be heading to that right side 2 cap, getting control over it, and forcing KB to put it in probably a last-ditch attempt to try and reset.
All right, here we go. So, see if they can make their way towards that eastern side without too much pressure. Of course, that artillery now going to have a little bit more of an idea as to where these guys may be heading. If they do start that cap up, might start actually having some presence towards this game. But let's bear in mind, no one's dealt or received any single piece of damage just yet. This is still very much up in the air. No one really going for this one. Now Kazna at least have an idea, thanks to Vetso's little bit of a brave play coming out. Isn't he getting spotted? Going to back up from that. Elian and Nexus looking across as well. So a very slow start here, but they are going to be meeting on that eastern side. Yeah,
for sure. But as we've seen a lot of times in 754 as well, if the attacking team gets any kind of control on the eastern side, it's very hard for the defenders to retake it. And with Kazna's Eurofish, if KB just continue letting themselves get spotted, Kazna will start to whittle them down, despite the fact that they're playing the Object 140s. Of course, the firing arc is very, very low, so it doesn't take a long time for the shell to get from A to B, which is more effective against those faster medium tanks, those tier 10 mediums. So Stefan gets spotted, though he's in a great position. Hyber in a more expendable tier 9 tank going forwards as well, and it's just going to start the cap.
So now it's all down to who can find anything back, who can find a way in, because KB have been locked out of the eastern side. They know that now. So they're heading back towards the west. Now, we've seen teams do this on the flank, going straight down the middle of the map, trying to head straight through, down that kind of 4 to 6 line, all the way down south. But this is a long old way to go, and if they get spotted here, which they are, kind of gives a bit away, the game away a little bit. Failware being spotted, now Eurofish. What can you do with this one? Can he make any shots count by now? He needs to start landing maybe a little something. If he does, that'll certainly be extraordinarily defining. You can see that shot coming in. Great stuff towards Pad. He gets picked up, and that's the problem, as you said. Even in these 140s, they've got to be careful. They can't allow themselves to be spotted without being able to find something back. But slowly but surely, you can see him being encroached in upon, and Vetso being his defender. Yeah, but Vetso's got more things to worry about than just that AMX 3090, and I think he probably got a whiff of that. And Hellish is on the side in the back chat, so he's got to try and scramble away, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it as the damage is coming in. And I think Vetso's just decided he wants to try and do as much as he can, even though he knows he's not going to make it out of this one alive. He's going to go down fighting. Tarantula going to take one on the fly. Vetso going to make it a little worse for wear. And even though Vetso may fall here, you can see he's doing some serious damage. Tarantula falls again. This guy's been having a mare of a game. And Vetso still standing in this. Finally gets picked up by Crux, but doing so much for just that small bit of worth. Really trying to make the most of it. And here's the counterplay coming out from Kazna, trying to pick up some of the damage. But KB flex away to relative safety, at least for now. This is where Kazna Crew's problems start to come apparent. With Eurofish and the artillery, it's only so much damage he's going to be able to do, and he's going to die at some point. And, KB are doing such a great job. You can see 2,000 hit points ahead, and Nexus gets set on fire. He's got to retreat. Yeah, Nexus is in trouble. He's going to at least catch Pad on the way down, but still, KB are doing a lot of damage. Kazna are just under 6k. KB sitting on 7. Hyper taking more shells. And let's remind ourselves, Eurofish will be removed pretty darn soon, and Hellfish is going to enjoy taking him down in that bad chat. And now, just 5 players remain for Kazna against the 5 of KB, but look at that HP disparity here. This is going to be a tough one for Kazna. This is going to even the game up so much. Yeah, this could be tough. Some good damage now being exchanged for Kazna Crew, but Nexus a one-shot. This guy's been peeking a little bit too much and gets punished finally. A multi-artor does a nice little shell on top of that turret. And KB's starting to crank in their gears, starting to go up those higher gears. Everything seems to be working for them. Yizny gets more damage, and yeah, Hellish is just having one hell of a game. Great stuff from him. Absolutely fantastic play coming out. And looking at what's remaining, 3 tanks for Kazna. Hyber on less than 100 HP. Stefan relatively sitting pretty, but not exactly in the best spot in the world. And Elian as well, just under 1k. But on the other side of things, KB, a massive amount of HP left. Time's on their side. They're in no rush to finish this. And it should be Kazna falling. Yeah, this should be Kazna falling for sure. I mean, Kazna again on the attack, so KB playing defensively, knowing maybe not to go forwards, but Hellish is now coming off reload, so probably be able to find Stefan from behind the Object 140. He is unsupported. Stefan, of course, finds that first shot, but the second and third will surely be Hellish's. Yeah, he's got so many shots to be made here on the run, doing the damage. Stefan, he knows his days are numbered. It's down to almost a one-shot hit, and he gets it. It's just Elian left standing now, 1v5. Don't get me wrong, Elian is a bit of a god, but maybe not by this point. 353 HP left. And to be fair, you know what, this was a one-sided matchup. KB, they're coming back. There's Artor picking up the kill. And there we have it. Another one on the board for KB. And slowly but surely, that scoreline is looking a little bit more and more tentative towards, you know, maybe making Kazna sharpen up a little bit here.
For sure. I mean, one more and Kazna will be losing their clean streak so far this season. Yep. So I think KB, really nice play. I mean, first of all, they reacted perfectly once Vetso had sprung the trap. They headed to that right side straight away. They played their advantage. Really nice play to the left as well, taking down Vetso. And I think once that Batchat had fallen, you had a situation where Kazna had one less tier 10 tank because they had the artillery, and then the second less tier 10 tank because they lost Vetso. 2 tier 10s went down, and those 2 M46s just couldn't do enough, and KB decided to win those exchanges with the faster aiming Object 140s, doing so much damage. And I think Kazakru, wrong lineup. Eurofish not doing quite enough in the artillery, actually doing 848 damage, whilst Hellish in the Batchat did 4.5k. Yeah, I mean, I think wrong lineups against such a fast setup from KB.
Maybe Kazna playing a little bit of their own game a little too much, and we're just going real quick right now, you know, Sonic speed throughout the game. But that was the starting trap that you noted that Kazna Crew did find out very well, but then off the back of that, KB actually played the game out properly. They found the weaknesses, they found options of being able to turn this game back into their favor, because let's bear in mind, that eastern side, as you said at the time, is extremely hard to get back into as a defender when the attacking team has it under control.
Yeah, and KB does it perfectly. They send half their tanks to get the decaps, all the hull down tanks, the Object 140s, and they send the lighter ones, the Batchat and the 2 other 140s, to go on that left side. And they happened to find Vetso as well, which is great news for them, who was basically in charge of keeping Eurofish safe the whole time. So yeah, it's just sacrificing a tier 10 tank for an artillery, and I think Kazna will be going back to what they know, and will be sticking to their faster lineups now in their defense. But you know, this is the thing, Kazna, they gambled. Because KB was on the defense, you expect them to pick something a little bit heavier. So obviously they try to counter that with artillery, which works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. As we saw, for instance, you know, Penta versus Wombats at the Season 1 finals.
A very good point there. So we'll have to wait and see if Kazna do go back to their old tricks and just close this game out in the style that they know that feels more comfortable to them. And you're giggling, so I can imagine maybe they have, or maybe they've ignored you. Have they? Oh
no, they've ignored me completely, Lauren.
Nice.
They've gone for the artilleries.
Oh, okay, so they've gone. What did Ollie say? Cool. Let's literally go for the opposite. Yeah. So we'll find out if that works again. You know, the thing is, Kazna just stubborn, I guess is the way we're going to put it. They want to win in this way, fine. But if they want the clean points, they have to win this round. This is what it comes down to. Kazna had the clean game. Then KB thought, screw that, we want the comeback. We want to push this to its limits. They've done exactly that. But ladies and gents, let's get ready. Will Kazna win in regular time? Or are we going to see KB taking this all the way through? We are live into this one. Kazna on the defending side, KB on the attack now. What are we seeing so far?
Well, Vetso's going to get boosted up in the STB1. We've seen that before the season as well, same as 754. We've seen a Waffen Triangle being put up there. We've seen a T-54 being put up there. We've seen a lot of tanks being put up there, but Vetso will be the one. And I think the STB1, good hull down tank, great rate of fire, can do a lot of damage, and pretty light as well. You can see that Chinese tank easily in that position, and Eurofish now going to set up as well. KB, mixture of medium tanks. They got Hellish as well in T110, E5, AMX 1390 in case they want to get the cap underway. At the moment, Hellish, Tarantula's just forwards trying to get some good spots. But Kazna Crew now on the defense, slightly advantage on steps, not massive advantage here. So still they got to play very well. They got to cool themselves down. 3 rounds in a row have now gone to KB.
That is something to remember. 3 in a row now. That's a lot of confidence starting to build up for KB. It'd be almost devastating to lose out at this point, but so far they're looking extremely good in this one. So Elfish is going to be looking towards that northern side of things. No one's really there. That's you know, to make any impression. Kazna playing this relatively standardly, just sitting towards that northeastern side, one player, or tank, should I say, boosted up towards the kind of hills. Nothing special, nothing completely new, just kind of standard steps.
The thing is as well, I mean, Kazna Crew, they've got the northern cap pretty much secure with the artillery.
Yep.
And they've kind of got that eastern cap secure with the STB1. So technically they got both caps secure. and this can work. But you can see on the maxi map, KB are starting to push forwards, and you can see as well A3 is a likely location for one of those tanks from KB to go up. AMX 3090 will put itself in the cap once the rest of his team has been set up, and it looks like the T110E5 hull down position in this kind of setup. But again, I think Kazna with the artillery and the STB, it's going to be hard for KB to cap, and it's harder to cap in tier 10 than it was in tier 8.
Alrighty, so as you said, quite a difficult cap to be made. Vetso's going to be the one to be kind of overseeing all of this from afar, waiting it back. But if Kazna make a mistake, they will be in trouble. But Hellfish actually taking a little bit on the way through here. Does finally make it, ooh, doesn't make it safety just yet. Tell a lie, there we go. Just about tucking himself behind that defilade for a second. But the cap has at least started with that 1390, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but this is going to be so painful for Hellish. He's a slow, big, well, not that big, but slow. Pretty big. Yeah. Cumbersome tier 10 tank, and Eurofish will have a little bit of a field day if he does manage to land those shells. Only about 350 meters away, maybe a little bit more, 400 meters for that Lorraine to hit, and Hellfish has really got to play it perfect. Doesn't make sure he doesn't get spotted if he doesn't want to get taken down by the Lorraine. Cap on the way though, and Kazna Crew just need to get those blind shots in. So far you can see they've whittled the HP in their favor with those shots onto Hellish.
So things not looking so great for KB thus far. Hellfish a little worse for wear, let's just say, but the cap is still continuing, so I guess KB in some way or form are carrying on with their plan here. But you know, at the end of the day, 50 seconds is a long time to wait, but we're going to see the rotate around the back. This is nice, maybe a little bit of a bait and switch. Paycat, Crux, Felware, all looking for the chance. And let's remind ourselves that, of course, Eurofish sitting in that artillery will be a little bit vulnerable, but he does have backup. They're not exactly miles apart, but still, where's the big danger point here?
Well, it looks like Kazna are mobilizing themselves for a push up in the north, and that would obviously be perfect timing as 3 tanks from KBR heading down south. But Ilian just receiving a lot of damage from Pade there in the background in the STB-1, which is just slicing through the front of the IS-7, and Hellish has not gone down to the fearsome firepower of Eurofish. Nexus got to run away as he could get side shots, but I think Kazna Crew will be aware that there's tanks now down south, and will be reacting to that.
Okay, let's see if this reaction pays off. Retraction towards the south coming out. This is interesting from Kazna. They're actually a little lower on HP overall. Let's, you know, keep eyes on that as well. Of course, having that artillery in there is going to equate to that factor itself. But they're not finding the perfect opportunities just yet. 5 minutes almost gone on the clock. There's a lot of time to be still played with here, but they do need to start considering their options, and this stack towards the southern side seems to be coming to a forefront. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, the stack is probably well known, but KB is really playing a good angle. You know, they're coming from multiple places. Eurofish is not landing the shells right now once again. He's not finding the MRTR, which he's going for at the moment, the STB-1. And you know, KB are 2,000 hit points in the lead, which is basically a tier 10 tank. So all well and good for KB right now. If you're really going to put your money on it, I would say they're going to win this game. But again, it only takes a moment for Kazna Crew to pounce, and Hellish trying... Oh, Almighty Artor again missing the shell from Eurofish. He's not landing them. That Lorraine is accurate, but not deadly accurate.
The problem is that Ilian being so low, they need a swing point. They need someone to step up a little bit here, because at the moment, KB are just sitting back, just taking their time. They don't need to rush this. They don't need to be worried about this, because really no one's created that big threat just yet. As you said, Eurofish just isn't landing shots at the moment. They're getting close, but they're no cigar, and really it just means KB get to rest on their laurels. Hellfish took a bit at the start, but he's got to safety. He's sitting waiting for that push through, and it looks like it's eventually going to happen. Yeah,
the push is going to come out 3 versus 2, but obviously Mighty Arto still on full HP. Hellish on the side though, he's not in the greatest position to get the reset here or get the damage onto these 3, so it could actually be okay for Kazna Crew if they land their shells.
Let's see what Kazna can do with this now. They do have some presence towards the north. They're looking to pick these kills up. Hyber and Yizny turn turret towards a player up by A2. That is Arta, who's tucked himself into the corner, tried to stave off the walls, but this is going to get dangerous.
This is going to get dangerous. 2 versus 1 at the moment. Eurofish still trying to land some damage, but that AMX 3090 in the background also working well, and 3 tanks from Kazna Crew are focused onto the one up north.
But look towards the southeast as well. We're going to have that three-man team stack coming off, trying to fight down towards the artillery, trying to find that AMX-50B. But there we have it. Nexus is going to find Artur, but can they make this situation better for themselves? Kazna need to find these instances. Great work from Eurofish. It might be his last stand before he goes down as Crux and Paycat finally arrive on the scene. Vetso's going to find Tarantula, so they're winning out in that northwestern battle, but losing out in the east. It's going back and forth here. The HP has become closer, but they will lose out on Eurofish, and they will lose out on Alien.
Yeah, the IS-7 there just not quite in the right position to reverse out this situation, but if Hellish goes down, Kazna Crew will be in the lead as the SDB1 of Vetso is still on a lot of HP. 3 versus 4. Kazna Crew with 4,000 HP, KB with 4,200. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock for Kazna Crew to hang on.
Remind ourselves once again, guys at home, KB are on attack still. That's the one important factor here. They are on attack. They eventually have to make the play, but the big thing here is actually they do at least have that east side cap, so they can return to this. But with Kazna having one additional player still standing, or a tank still standing, they can at least sacrifice one if they really need to. But the HP is low. It's not sitting perfectly pretty right now for Kazna. Vets are in the best position. Yizny not far behind. Then Hyber and Nexus trailing with the most, or at least HP, should I say. But still, 20 seconds on this one. They're going to have to get there quick.
Yeah, certainly. 3 tanks in the cap for KB. Kazna Crew probably didn't expect that so much, that KB would commit everything. And this is a last-ditch attempt from KB. If they don't manage to get this cap underway, they won't have any other angles to play from.
This is actually going to come down really close. Look at the timing. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Hyper's even received a shell. This could be one shot and done, or at least a one and done here. Let's see if they can get that reset coming in pretty darn quickly. Yizny's going to have the shell first. He makes it. Great little reset coming in towards Failware. 10 seconds now on the board. They need to get the job done. 9 seconds now. Failware taking the most of the attention here. But now here comes the counter push. KB trying to focus down Nexus, and they get it. Where is Vetso in this? He needs to be doing the damage as well, staying alive. Because as you can see, Yizny's found a lot more damage coming through. Crux and Paycat are looking a little worse for wear here. Paycat's still sitting pretty, but for how long? Crux takes down Hyber, bringing it to a 2v2.
2 versus 2 situation, but Crux is in a one-shot position right now. He can't really do much, but Vetso's in between both of them. Paycat is next on the chopping board. I think he will fall as Yizny's from the side, and he does. Kazna Crew take it 5-3 in a heart stopper right at the end, and KB comes so close to winning that game, but 4 versus 3. More angles to play around with for Kazna Crew, and Vetso getting pretty lucky with that shot on the reset.
That was insanely close. If you're a KB fan, I'm really sorry. I've got to say it, because they worked their absolute nuts off in that game. There's no other way of putting it. They worked so hard in that, and they got so close.
They should be comeback. Obviously, come is spelled with a C, but comeback works well. Comeback for KB, that definitely works. What's wrong with that? You got dirty mind or something?
No.
No.
I was really impressed with KB, and now you just lowered the tone.
How is you got a dirty mind?
No.
They came so close, yet so far.
Is that a Linkin Park song? Tried so hard and got so far.
In the end, it doesn't even matter.
The dank Maymays are slipping into the WGLEU, but that aside, a good victory in the end for Kazna. They got a little bit close, but they did pull it back through. The big thing here was the first few maps and the first few rounds for Kazna. That's where they were impressive. But then from Ghost Town, where did they go?
Yeah, I mean, Ghost Town hasn't been a good map for Kazna Crew so far. I said that beforehand, and I'll say it again. It's somewhere where they have to work on. They had the advantage in that last round, but they threw it away with a bit of a strange push. And then, you know, the wrong lineup here on steps didn't work out well for them. But they finally make it happen. Yizny 3,200 damage, Vetso 3,800 damage, and Crux, he had a fantastic round, 3,000 damage and 3 kills, really worked out well. But you can see Kazna Crew coming from every angle, and even a little bit of HE damage on the side of the SDB, as they probably were reloaded to get the reset, and maybe Vetso just forgot to load heat. But yeah, Kazna Crew get it done. Probably hearts in their mouths there, but yeah, finally. Third win in a row for Kazna Crew.
A little bit closer than I'd expected, if I'm completely honest. But, you know, a win regardless. I think we have to look at it that way, that no matter the scoreline, it was their victory to be had. But the thing I'm looking forward to now is the next game. But we'll go on to that in a moment, because, of course, Melly, the people did get it right in the end. But how was the scoreline? Because that was actually a closer game than I expected. And I can imagine people were voting for these, you know, 5-0s, 5-1s maybe. And then suddenly you see this comeback coming on. And, sorry, is that okay?
KB, yeah.
KB, sorry, yeah.
Literally, it makes total sense.
Yep. Nailed it. But yeah, you know, people probably thought this would be very one-sided.
Yes.
But then, of course, it got very close. How many people do you think got this scoreline right at a quick glance?
I don't know, around 15. Probably.
Really? Only? Wow, that's...
Oh, wait, no. 15 were guessing the 5-0. Sorry, I totally confused it. I sadly deleted the entries already and saved it in my file
Melly,
here.
stop being so efficient.
Oh, yes, the next vote is
Oh, yes,
already
I'm
up.
so German.
Oh, yes.
That's why I'm here.
Oh, yes, World of Tanks. Love
That's
you,
not
Melly.
even remotely German, but yeah.
You can't say... Germans can't say world, because they say world. Because, like, W and V are, like, wrong.
World of
Not
Tanks.
you, Melly, not you. I love you. It's okay. Not like that.
World of Tanks.
Nailed it.
Okay, cool.
You miss me, don't you?
No, that's yes, I did. Yes, I did. But yeah, that's true because I used to say Vikings instead of Vikings, or was it the other way around?
Vikings.
What's the correct one?
Vikings.
And instead of Vikings, like because it's spelled with a.
Yeah.
But well, whatever. Yes, it was a surprise. KB coming back. Not too many people expected it. Even Twitch chat got ruffled up. It was really cool to see how they kind of were pushing KB at first and then said, "Oh, it wasn't meant that way. Kazna, what are you doing? Stop. Get back." But well, congratulations to everyone that got it right in the end.
Took some time, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes. And the next vote is already online, so head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and get involved. It's the very first posting on your timeline. And yes, let's see how this one goes.
Of course, the next game coming up is going to be Tornado Rocks up against Penta. Quite the big game if Penta actually do decide to turn up today. You never know in the season when they decide they want to play tanks, but it might be today's play day. We'll find out. Melly's having a good time. We're going to go to a short break. Don't go too far away.